Hey everyone, so I'm back again with another video. This time around I have some more video game pickups to share with you guys. Uh, this will be another entry in the recent pickups series. So I have games here from a whole bunch of different generations. Some disc-based games and some cartridges as well. And I'll pretty much get into these first two items here. I recently downloaded a new to me app called Bunz. Sorry, that's Bunz, where you basically put stuff up for trade, and you trade different goods and sometimes even services for different things. And I managed to find some games. I ended up getting these two games from this one person, and I traded them two books, The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison and Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. And both of those are books that, for various reasons, I no longer needed. Toni Morrison, never been a big fan, pretty much only had that book for a class. And Fahrenheit 451, I've read it before, so I don't really need this copy here. This was actually a second copy that I had of the book. But I traded it for these two games. One is an upgrade, and one is a very happy addition to my collection. So the upgrade is another copy of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis for the PS1. It's actually not in much better condition than the copy that I already have. But the disc is definitely slightly less scratched than the one I already had. And also the cover on it is a little bit less sun damaged as well. The other game that I got, now some people will be like, well, if it was part two of this game, it would have been a much better deal. But still, for me, I have nostalgia for this, and I'm very happy to finally add this to my collection. It's Bubble Bobble for the NES, just the first Bubble Bobble for the NES. Very, very, very happy to finally add that to my collection. At least locally, this game was going for $30 to $50, depending on what stores I saw it at, and I couldn't commit that kind of money to this game. But again, finally, I get to have it and play it again after all these years. Next up, I went to. Sorry, let me just fix that there. I went to a video game store that I haven't been to in some months now. It's called Last Gen, I believe is the full name of it. And it's just one guy, and he deals in video games, records, and comics, amongst a couple of other things, but mainly those three things. His prices, for the most part, are pretty fair, but as you'd expect from any sort of retail store, of course, some things are priced higher than other things. Um, I get that, of course, games have different values, but what I mean is that every store is going to have some game or some set of games that are priced above average, but I mean, what can you do? Apparently, this guy had gotten in a whole bunch of Dreamcast and Saturn games, and I had missed out on some really good games. I think, if I remember correctly, he said he had a loose disc but pretty minty copy of Power Stone 2 for $40. I would have definitely grabbed that, but the rest of it's kind of sort of escaping my memory right now. But this is what I got. So for $15, I got this PSP game here and a Game Boy game as well. The PSP game I got was just $5. It's PQ, Practical Intelligence Quotient. This here is a sequel to Intelligent Cube on the PS1. It's actually one of several sequels to that game. Very much so enjoyed that game, and very happy to add this one to my collection as well. And the Game Boy game that I got is a game that's on NES, Genesis, I believe, as well. and on Game Boy. I'm not too certain if it's on anything else, but when I saw this game, I knew I had to have it. It was just $10. It's not the best price, but it's a port of a console game to a handheld, and it's a pretty decent platformer as well. It's Chuck Rock. As you can see, I paid $9.99 for that one, but it was just $15 even for the two of them. Pretty much no tax. Now, the next game that I have to show you guys, I got it from this same store last gen, but it has more of a story behind it. So I noticed that the guy there had two large stacks of recently traded in original Xbox games that hadn't been priced yet. So I asked him for the price on two different games, and I mean, for me, I'm cheap for the most part, and the prices for those two games were a little bit too much for me to justify spending in that moment. So I had to sort of pass on it, and I was a little bit reluctant about that. But there had been another guy there, just another customer that I had been talking to, and I see him like move over towards us, take out his wallet, ask how much the game is, give the guy the cash, and proceed to pick up the game. And then I get shocked with what happens next. What happened next is pretty much that he purchased the game for me. He just bought it for me. Now I asked him, like, why did you do that? Please, like, you don't have to. Why are you even doing this right now? And pretty much the response that I got out of him was that it was American money. He was an American using Canadian money. He was only here until the end of that day. So he should be back in the U.S. now, a couple days now. But he had extra Canadian money that he wanted to spend. He didn't want to bother converting it later on, so he just spent it all. He bought stuff for himself as well, but he went ahead and just bought this for me. It's a game that I've been looking for the original Xbox, and it's a pretty decent one as well. It's kind of an arcade shooter slash hack and slash first person perspective kind of game. It's Gun Valkyrie for the original Xbox, and the price that he had initially on this game was $30. I asked if he could come down to 20. He couldn't. He could only make it down to 25, and then everything I had just finished telling you is pretty much what occurred after that point. But again, very, very, very happy to add this game to my collection. Now, the second last game I want to show you guys here, I actually got it from the Salvation Army that I usually go to, and I think I need to look into this more, because a lot of games are coming into this Salvation Army that used to be Blockbuster rentals. I think I'm going to have to take a look and see if they're all coming from the same location, like the same place after the Blockbuster closed. I'm trying to figure out where these came from, because a lot of somewhat decent original Xbox games have been coming in. But yeah, finally added another decent game to my collection, and it is Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, just the first one there. It was just $3.99, if you can see it there. But it was disc only, and the disc is kind of scratched, but I couldn't really complain about this game for just $3.99. I've really been lucking out lately, finding a lot of decent stuff, getting crazy deals, especially a free game, which was completely uncalled for, and some older games that I've really been wanting to add to my collection. But here, the last game that I want to show you guys is a loose disc game, and at first you might be like, well, what's so special about it? But the thing is that the game that I'm talking about is Diablo for the PS1. Now, this game here, complete with the case and manual, will go for, I want to say, $60 to $70 locally. But I really haven't been able to track down a cheap enough copy of this game. Now, this here, disc only, it is pretty scratched, it is pretty beat up, but it still manages to play. And it was just $2.99 for this. Well, it was priced at $2.99, but I ended up just paying the guy $2. I counted up a whole bunch of quarters and just gave it to him, and got me a copy of Diablo, just loose disc, for just $2, which I thought was an amazing deal. Again, it is scratched pretty bad, but I will try my best to get it to work. Not get it to work, to get to a store to resurface it so at least it looks nice. It's kind of hard to show it on camera here. I guess there you can see it. It's pretty roughed up, but at least it's still there, and it wasn't too steep of a price to pay. But yeah, that's what I got. A whole bunch of games to add to the collection, as well as one upgrade. As always, leave comments in the comment section below. Anything you'd like to say, comments, questions, suggestions, ideas, anything at all, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Check out my Facebook, Twitter, and website. They're all linked in the description below. And also linked in the description below is a link to my 500 subscribers contest. Check that out as well if you'd like. And that's it. See ya.